Guys, welcome back to the Nets, the channel of unbiased views. Here we are with Elroy again, and this is a channel where we talk about football and cricket. And since cricket is on the back burner, we'll continue talking about football and primarily Arsenal. Uh, if you are coming in for the first time, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you have seen us, give us a shout out. If you like us, let us know. If you don't like us, leave us a feedback. But we try to come in and talk about football. And with me is Elroy. Hey, Elroy, welcome back.
Hey, Kayur. Yes, good to be back.
So, quite a few things happening, Ilroy, in the transfer market, at least the rumors on Twitter. I think
Yeah,
Twitter is more active than anything else on during transfer week or transfer month.
yeah,
What do you think of Xhaka leaving? Let's start with that.
yeah. That's a good place to start. I think that is obviously the biggest news, and that is one rumor which came out of not rumor. It's a legit news right now, and that is something which took all the Arsenal fans by surprise. And especially on social media, you'll see a big discussion about this, like for multiple reasons. One thing is Xhaka has a lot of strong supporters who will go, like who want to defend him at any cost and who are very upset. Then there are those people who are just happy that Xhaka is leaving, and then there are people in between on the fence who are like, if it happens, happens, doesn't happen. Like, people are not too sure whether it's the right move or no. So yeah, but because nobody saw that, like all of us knew about the other players who are linked to leave, like maybe say, the likes of Torreira, Guendouzi, like David Luiz leaving, or Kolasinac, say for instance, or maybe even Lacazette. Everybody knew these names would be on the list for sure, but nobody expected it, Shaka to pop up all of a sudden. And to be honest, he's being linked with a move to Roma, and Italy seems like a perfect place for Xhaka. His ability on the ball, the type of a player he is, will actually suit the Italian league the most. So for him, it makes total sense. I feel it's a good move for Arsenal, but we do need the money. We need to extract something out of it. It's like the reported rumor right now is 17 million, which for me is very low. It should be 20 to 25 minimum. I know we won't get more than 25 considering that the COVID market, and he's already 28. But I think 20 to 25 would be a fair representation of his value, because the type of player he is, and we shouldn't get bullied into just selling that way and being lowballed. So yeah, that is my take with it.
My take is I have always been, one of those guys that I've always felt the Xhaka is not up to the mark. And probably
Yeah,
it's my fault that I compare everybody, anybody who's called a DM is being compared automatically to Vieira.
Vera,
And
yeah,
Xhaka for me does not offer much defensively. And going forward, the best he can do is shoot from a little bit further out or he gives those crosses.
yeah.
I don't see him having that bit of a creativity. And it amplifies more when I see all these people coming in and comparing him with Vieira. My
Oh yes, that is
dislike
that
towards
is
him starts growing further and
that
further.
that that you've seen a lot of I would say disgusting tweets where people are actually comparing him and pointing out to Vieira's like one fault maybe as compared to Xhaka, which is really stupid. But yeah, to
And
add
yeah,
to that point,
that
see,
for me is with me. The other thing was Xhaka does not maintain that kind of a connection with the Arsenal crowd, the Arsenal,
yes,
the fans. He that abusive incidents where he called out names or he
true, true,
said something back to the crowd. That was one.
yeah,
He was stripped of his captaincy. I would have thought that that would have probably been his last window, but then he stood up
yeah,
and he performed a little bit
he
better in
performed
the
well,
last few
yes.
weeks. But nonetheless, if you look at what can he step in and fill in two roles, one attacking and one
Yeah,
defensive? I don't think so.
true,
So for
true,
me,
that
he's
is true.
going away. Good for us.
Yeah. So, KU, to add to that point, Xhaka is one player who I have always said, like, I have always made it a point saying that, like, especially from the time Arsenal became a Europa League club, and now we are not even that. When Arsenal became like a proper Europa League club rather than a club competing in the Champions League, I have always maintained my take on it that Arsenal will, if we want to go to the next step in terms of competing, we need an upgrade over Xhaka. And, right now, the problem is, are we too late in terms of this full move happening? Because right now we are not even in the Europa League. So can we really attract a good central midfielder who will have attributes and who will be an upgrade over Xhaka? Okay, that we can keep that aside. That's another topic. But yeah, like, see, to be honest, like a lot of people say, and I agree with that, Xhaka has definitely been one of our good players this season. Some would even say he's one of our best players this season. Because yes, he in the middle of the park, he has controlled the game. He has, when he is there, the build-up is much better. But then you just ask yourself this one question. At the end of the day, we finished eighth. And eighth is not good enough. So if you think that Xhaka as a central midfielder is good enough for us to finish eighth, and you're upset about him leaving, then no, we have to. One thing could be that we let Xhaka go. We get another midfielder who might not have the same traits as Xhaka, but maybe we might try to build up in a different way. Our midfield might be set up in a different format, in a different formation, which is possible. So, but yeah, I'm okay with him leaving as long as we do upgrade that area properly. We need, because central midfield has been a big issue in the recent last 2 years, and getting a different kind of a central midfielder, but a good central midfielder should be right on top of our priority list.
Absolutely agree with you. I feel that there will be players out there like the guy that's been associated with us, Bissouma.
Yeah.
We saw what he was capable of doing when we were playing them. The other thing
Yes.
that I feel is bringing in young talent would be more like, having that Leicester feel where you take that next step, you see your team taking that next step, and as a team, you start realizing that, yeah, we have the potential and going further and
Yes.
further. With Xhaka, I think that the benchmark was set so low that Xhaka's minimal contributions are so blown out of proportion that, oh my God, he's the best midfielder. Yeah, he's the best midfielder if you look at what we have currently.
What we
And I
have
would
currently,
even take
yes.
that back. Now that Partey has come in, I feel that
Partey is
Partey is
here.
a bit better and he will gel well next year. But the benchmark has been set so low that we
The
start
benchmark has
finding
been
good
set low.
traits in
Exactly.
Xhaka.
Yes. Yes, that has
So
been. I mean,
I'm
there has
pretty
been.
sure there are people out there who are going to be better than Xhaka. I
Yeah.
personally had lots and lots of hopes from Guendouzi, which let's talk about Guendouzi.
Yeah.
An aggressive midfielder, a bit of craziness in his head, aggressive on the field, lack of control, self-discipline. But is
Yes.
he having the trait to succeed in the big team? I think he did. I had no idea why he was shipped out.
So Guendouzi case itself was, in a way, like when it comes to this full Guendouzi thing, this is a clear example where Arteta, you can say to some extent he was right, but this is one thing which Arteta's inexperience as a coach, not just Arteta, the entire Arsenal management's, their inexperience showed up into picture. Arteta disciplining, trying to discipline Guendouzi, absolutely correct, because that should not be taken for granted. Now, see, one thing is a lot of people started to talk that it was all because of Guendouzi holding Mope's neck, but we don't know that for sure. We don't know what has happened behind the scenes, because it has been reported that there were issues, disciplinary issues behind the scene. It's because everybody in the heat of the moment is going to act in some way or the other on the field, and we have seen people getting back. So it's definitely not that. Something has happened behind the scenes, which obviously we are not privileged. We are not going to get that information. It's not easy, and that's fair enough, because those matters are dealt internally. Disciplining him, I mean, putting him, trying to make him, outcasting him for disciplinary issues, fine, that is, but they made it too public. And by making the way they made it too public, they made him like a complete want away player, which dropped his value drastically and has played our hand. We don't have the upper hand in this negotiation. Everybody knows that Guendouzi and Arteta don't get along well. So any club that comes to negotiate with us is not going to, give us the money that we want, because it's going to be difficult. Everybody knows that the favor is it's in their side, because at the end of the day, Guendouzi has no future at Arsenal right now, and they can easily lowball us, keep on lowballing us, and then, or if they want, wait till the end of the window when we cannot ship him out and get him for a cut price, So that is where Arteta and the management have made a big mistake by continuing to make it public that they don't want Guendouzi, and that is one of a mistake. Coming to your point about Guendouzi, I actually liked him as a player. He offered something different. Yes, as a midfielder, he had qualities, he had limitations as well, which could have been corrected. But I mean, I'm okay with us losing out on him. If as long as we get money, we should get a good deal. Because see, tomorrow at the end of the day, he is the player who, even he went to Hertha Berlin, he had so good. The coach complained about him there as well. So we don't have guarantee that tomorrow, even if another coach comes, that they will be able to handle him or no. You know, So that way, I'm okay to make peace with it in terms of him not being there in the squad. Much that he offers something different, that fight, and plus as a midfielder, he had a lot of limitations, but he was a player who was once upon a time tagged as a 45 million asset. And right now, the latest rumor that Marseille want him and their first bid is going to be like for 8 million. That is how badly this situation has been handled.
I do agree. So, with being, if you ask me, Arteta's biggest flaw here has been, I remember a similar incidents happening way back in, I think, 2000s or maybe a little bit before that, where, actually 2000s, when Wayne Rooney was a bad boy. And Sir
Okay.
Alex Ferguson treated him and handled him and made him a world class player.
Yeah.
Now, Arteta's inexperience does show. You always have these
Yes.
characters, and in how in Chak the India, Shah Rukh Khan says there's only one alpha male in this team, and that has to be me. I don't think
Yes.
Arteta can come out as that strong person in the dressing room. I mean, with on the pitch, we know Vieira was one of those players who would hold your neck on the pitch or in the tunnel and let you know that, you know
Yeah.
what, I am the one here who's going to dictate terms. I don't see that happening. And I think somebody like that would help Guendouzi, help bringing
Guendouzi,
back his
yes.
career, because he was one of those players who was not giving up on the field at all. He would
He
run
would not
back and
give up on
forth
the
all
field.
the time, try to create something out of nothing. And maybe he was not
True.
as technically gifted, but being 20
Yes.
odd, he has tons and tons of time to improve on that.
Yes, exactly.
So I feel
So
that definitely he's something that we miss on, and definitely not someone who will sell, who we should be selling for just 8 million, considering his
yeah,
age,
exactly.
his potential that we have seen.
Exactly, exactly. So that is for
So
me is one of Arsenal and Arteta's biggest mistakes. The way they've handled the Guendouzi case should have been done better, but yeah, it is what it is now.
so uh, that's another one. The big case of Joe Willock. What do we do with him? He
I
has
I
turned
you
out. I mean, he has shown his potential. He has come out, and now even if he comes to play with Arsenal,
yeah.
he is coming back off from that kind of a confidence that
Yes.
now he wouldn't want to be treated into the team as somebody who is inferior to, some of the
Yeah,
big
true.
names we might purchase. How do
Yeah.
we handle a situation like that?
To be honest, the Joe Willock situation is the most mysterious one. Look, there are so many permutations and combinations when it comes to Joe Willock. Like let's take each and every example. The first example is we keep him. Now we keep him, he could end up bursting out to the scene, like, and scoring a lot of goals, which would be ideal for us because we've lacked that. But then on the downside is he the kind of player who will thrive in an Arsenal squad, or is he a kind of a player who would thrive in a squad like Newcastle? The concept of the fish in a big pond and big fish in the small pond. That kind of a, or a big fish in a big pond itself. It's that kind of a situation for Joe Willock. Will he will he have that same kind of confidence and attitude and ability when he plays for an Arsenal squad, which is, let's just say, has a higher level of quality of players, or will he thrive at a club like Newcastle where he is definitely superior as compared to the rest of the players there? That is one thing. But yes, he scored 8 goals in the second half of the season in the Premier League, and I don't think any of our players in the central midfielder have scored more than 2 goals, if I'm not wrong. So it just shows that what Joe Willock has, he has a trait which. The second thing is, if you get a bid of 30 to 35 million, you know for me that is something which you say that okay, his value would not grow up from here, because what if you keep him another season and then he doesn't perform well? The 30 to 35 what you would be getting, you won't get that anymore. And at a time like this where Arsenal need money, it's in the balance. So I would actually suggest go with this option. If we are getting a bid of actually of 30 million, not 20 to 30, no, because the way he's playing, if we get a bid of 30 plus million, I would definitely say let's sell him. Okay. Third and the last option would be that, the last option is actually one of the most weirdest one. You send him on another year of loan. But that for me is no, it's a make or break. We have to take a very firm decision. We keep him, we live with that decision, or we sell him for 30 million, and it's like we take it as a win-win situation.
Even last time we spoke that Joe Willock is a lot more direct player when it comes to,
Yes,
he
yes.
likes taking on, he likes attacking through the midfield. That is one thing that we found out lacking in Arsenal. We
We
always
in
try to
our
go through
squad,
the
yes.
wings. Does
Yes.
he give us the option? And if he doesn't give us the option, why was he succeeding in Newcastle? Have we even
True.
thought about that as an Arsenal team? And by making the
True.
changes that we might make, that we are thinking about Bundia and we are thinking about Bissoma,
Yeah.
do adding somebody like those in the squad actually gives the squad a little bit more flexibility. It gives us a option to,
Yeah.
attack. Now he is again one of those players coming out of the current form that he's in. He wouldn't want to start from the bench. He knows he
True.
has a better
Exactly.
chance of starting all
Yeah.
the games. And considering Arsenal are a mid-table team right now, and so is
Yes.
Newcastle, there is no
Yes.
difference. He can very well
Yeah.
succeed and call himself a big name by being in a team like Newcastle.
Yes.
So yeah, it is a curious case, but I think Arteta and Arsenal missed out on a trick by not giving him the kind of chances that they might have given
Yeah.
somebody like Ajaka or somebody like
Yeah.
I mean Emil Smith Rowe and Saka definitely performed, but I think that he has the potential to succeed at Arsenal.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
has to be given some time, and I
Yeah.
think he will make a difference.
Especially if you're letting go of so many central midfielders, like number of central midfielders in the likes of Xhaka, in the likes of Torreira, Guendouzi. When you're letting go of so many central midfielders, you would ideally think that yes, Joe Willock has to stay. So for me, it's all about like, are we going to use him the right way? It's so that for me, my take is this: we get something more than 30 million, I would say like, okay, fine, you can reinvest that in maybe a player that you can like. But if not, like, I would definitely give him a chance at the club.
So speaking of which, let's move to the next one. That's Bundia. He's been associated with us.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
I think amongst all the players who are currently being linked, he is one player we will. I have this gut feeling that we will end up getting him because of, see, as the reported rumor is that Odegaard is our number one choice, but Odegaard might get a chance at Real Madrid now with Zidane not being there, so the new coach could give him a chance. And yeah, Buendia. One thing is that Arsenal have like it was reported back in December, January itself that he shares the same agent as Emi Martinez. So Arsenal have a good connection with his agent, and Arsenal have made contacts with his camp. That is there. We've not made any contacts with Norwich as per the latest rumor. I feel that if at all there is that is one deal that can be done. If Arsenal want it to happen, they can easily get that deal done because Norwich are ready to sign. No point is it mentioned that Arsenal have a, I mean, at least as per the reports, nothing is mentioned that Arsenal is, not comfortable buying him that way. Maybe the negotiation, how it will go, that will be different. But yeah, and he as a player, it's, see, a lot of player people have been saying that he didn't have a lot of assists or goals in the Premier League 2 years ago, but he's a person who had, I think, 6 or 7 assists and 1 goal, but he did create a lot of chances. He was one of the highest chance creators in the Premier League 2 seasons ago. And another thing with him is last year in the championship, sorry, in the championship, he has really set the world alight by scoring some 15, 16 goals and like some another 15, 16 assists. So that those are good numbers. And people will say that why are we buying players from the championship? You cannot have that attitude, to be honest, because a lot of players like the likes of Madison, Andy Robertson, Ollie Watkins, a lot of these good players have come from the championship. The championship by no means is a measure of poor quality. It's just that, yes, if you're going to be paying 40 million, then that comes as a very, situation that, okay, if he doesn't work out, then, you'll be slated for it quite a bit. Yeah. So that is the only factor in that place.
So with the other names that we have been associated with, okay, let's go over them super quick. Grealish,
Yes.
Kamavinga, and Our.
Yeah.
Now, Our, we know that he's going to be at a cut price. He's going to be like 21 to 25 million something.
Yeah.
Then there is Grealish, who's going to be extremely expensive, 80 to 90 mil, and maybe his target or destination will be Man City. That was what the latest rumors are, that Man City are going to go for him.
Yeah.
And even United probably may have the stakes would be higher for him going to United than he comes to us. And then the
Yeah.
last one is Our, who had a pretty abysmal last year. He wasn't really as good as people made out. I mean, last window there was a bigger hype about Our than this window.
Yeah.
And Kamavinga. Kamavinga is again a big, big, big talent. And judging by his numbers and how he has
Yeah.
performed, I won't be surprised if Barcelona or Real Madrid or Bayern go for him as well.
True. Yeah.
Your take on
Yeah.
these?
Yeah. So Yeah, so I feel Kamavinga and Grealish are out of the option. Like Grealish is going to go to the Euros, and I have this feeling in me that Grealish is going to have a good tournament because he's a quality player. No doubt how Southgate uses, he's a quality player, and you know these kind of quality players. And if your English will always come with an extra added amount, that the English factor is there. So for me, he's already priced out on that point itself. The reported amounts of 80 million, 100 million for Grealish is definitely not going to happen. Second, on Kamavinga, as you said, he is going to be the sharks that are going to be after him are the big clubs, not a club which is not even in Europe. It's going to be very, very difficult for Arsenal to get. He's going to be quoted by the likes of PSG, Barcelona, Real Madrid. Maybe if not this season, they'll probably have like a pre-agreement or something will be there where they can get him maybe next season when their finances improve. So the last player is Awar. Now the only reason we could get maybe is Awar because one is, as you said, he can be available for a cut price. Second, it just feels that that ship has sailed. I mean, I wouldn't mind him, but it feels that there's no news of him. And whatever we wanted from him last season, I think even he's not had a very good season wherein the hype has been there around him. So for me, he is just a player who's, right now his name is coming up mainly because of the fans. The fans are going back, revisiting last window. I personally feel that our may not happen. It's just a feeling because there's no news about our right now. There's no actual concrete link with him and Arsenal, so it doesn't seem like it will happen.
So then there was also a little rumor going around back in the days about Julian Brandt going to be one of the choices that we had, and it would have been a good selection, a decent choice again, a
Yes.
direct player again who likes to take his shots and doesn't take that extra pass to do something. If it's in his foot, he's going to shoot it. That kind of a player. And
Yes.
then the usual suspect, Nabil Fekir. He was also one of those
Yeah.
guys, but I think that that's past it. He's not going to be
Yes, that
a name
is
that's.
definitely, yeah. He's not.
My biggest
So
fear
yeah.
is my biggest fear is us going for either Jorginho or Hazard because it for some reason we are going to Chelsea these days. So,
Yeah,
but go
that's
ahead,
it.
you were saying something.
No, so see, one thing I feel that at the end of the day, right, we tend to this entire transfer season, and especially nowadays because of social media, it builds a lot of hype because there's a lot of misinformation being spread, a lot of fake ITKs that come into picture. There are a lot of transfer rumors, and people know that Arsenal fans lose their head over any rumor. They know that they get traction. So it's mainly a lot of things are said just to cause an agenda and to just disrupt Arsenal. See, one thing I will give you Arsenal as a club is that Arsenal as a club is very, very good at keeping their deals under the wrap. Like there are a lot of other clubs where if a particular player is linked, you will get news from it for quite a long time. Like players are there that way. Whereas when it comes to Arsenal, who their transfer targets are is very, very rarely, published out loud. I mean, here and there the names do come up, but it's mainly about, they do a good job in keeping it under the wraps. So I have a feeling that for all the names that we have discussed today, none of them might end up coming to us, and we will have like a completely different list. It's highly possible, and that is what Arsenal have done a lot in the past. But
So
my only point is will it happen? Will we get quality players? Is to be seen, and our entire mission should be to get quality players. No more substandard players. No more players who are just going to be squad members.
again, my other question is, I think that we are seeing some changes happening in the back office as well, like Steve Bold
Yeah,
going. We also have a new fitness, I think a fitness coach
yeah,
or somebody who's joining the squad as well. We got one from Manchester United or an old Manchester United squad fitness coach, and
I,
I could be off there, but I think that changes are happening around. Then there was also that rumor of a 2 billion bid being made by Daniel Ek, and
yeah, yeah.
again, I don't see why Kroenke would want to sell it. He's sitting on
True.
sitting with a chicken that's laying a golden egg.
Exactly.
Why would he want to sell it is
Exactly.
beyond me.
Yeah.
So
So that's yeah.
let's move on from that topic to the managers, the managerial go
Mm.
merry-go-round that we are talking about, listening to
Yeah.
at least these days. So
Yeah.
Allegri, the rumor of Allegri maybe going to Madrid or maybe going elsewhere or coming to Arsenal have all died down. He goes back to his
Yeah.
home, Juventus.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
So I don't know, like if you noticed, like over the last couple of weeks before Real Madrid lost out on the title, there were rumors of Zidane leaving from the start. Like almost 2 weeks ago, there were rumors of Zidane leaving, and it was reported that if Zidane left, the straightforward replacement would be Allegri. Allegri had almost had like an agreement with Real Madrid. But just this is what I say is how football works in a weird way. Juventus probably saw this, and Juventus had to make a call. Do we stick with Pirlo for another year, given an experienced manager another year, or do we make the hard call and get Allegri? Because if Allegri leaves at that point of time, Juventus didn't know that Conte would leave as well, or Zidane would leave, or anything that way. So Juventus just straight away jumped. They went ahead with the decision, sacked Pirlo, got in Allegri, didn't waste time. And that leaves Real Madrid in a tough spot right now. Not necessarily tough spot, because considering that a manager of the high caliber manager of Conte has left Inter Milan, so Real Madrid can get him if they want. Whereas, but that's just, I'm just saying that is how a club can be efficient sometimes. You have to make those tough calls. Now, why he left in the previous year, a lot of people asking, but if I'm not wrong, this time Juventus have also sacked the technical director who was working with him back then, and who maybe he would have had some problem. I don't know. But yeah, so it's a different case. And Allegri is a good coach at the end of the day, and Juventus have got him back. He was a winner. It's like the moment he was not there, they didn't win the title anymore. I mean, they won under Sari, but so I'm saying that they've made these decisions, tough decisions, which moved away from emotion. Anybody would say that, oh, Pirlo is your legend and he's won a trophy. He's won a trophy and got into top four. Like for a team like say Arsenal, if we were in that position, we would be celebrating it like for till the next season. But that is the level of competition at Juventus, and that is not acceptable. They went ahead and got Allegri because they knew that if they delayed it a bit more, Allegri would be joining Real Madrid. So that's just how they have worked with it, and it's efficient. It's as a business, as a decision, it's something you had to take, and they've taken it. Yeah.
That is why I feel like big clubs or big teams that continuously succeed make these changes, make these hard calls, and they make it, they make it a point that they keep letting the world know that they are a big club for a reason. So,
Exactly,
for instance,
exactly.
even if you look at I don't know if you've been following Germany, but Germany has been horrible in the past few years, right? Under Yogi
Yes.
Löw, they saw Hansi Flick and his success with Bayern.
Yeah.
They hired him.
Yeah.
It's that kind of a deal. And
The
now my bigger
mentality,
fear is,
it's
if
yeah.
for whatever reason Arteta starts failing, I hope we don't go after Yogi Löw, because considering us,
It's
we might even go for low, considering we have had this habit of going after has-beens.
yeah.
But
And
let's keep our
that is
fingers
always
crossed. The other manager, yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, when it even when we sacked Emery, for instance, we didn't have like a massive pool of managers who were there. So it's like, when it comes to Arsenal, you don't know how they are going to be. You don't trust them enough to make the right choice. That is my always my fear. Yeah.
But speaking of Emery, now he has more European titles than Sir Alex Ferguson. So, I mean, I wouldn't say they compete in any means. Alex Ferguson was miles ahead
Yeah.
of any other manager we have seen. But
Yeah.
Emery, I think he was hounded out of Arsenal a lot sooner than we would have liked. He was again an experienced
Uh,
manager, and he won finals every time he went there in the Euros,
hmm.
except for Arsenal. So we were probably a blot on his career rather than him being a blot on
Yeah.
ours.
True. No, but I think, yeah, that is it. Does feel that way. But when it comes to Emery, it was for anybody who thinks that he should have continued as an Arsenal manager. For me, is wrong in the first place. One thing is he had lost the dressing room, and when you lose the dressing room in that level, it's like very difficult. Second thing was Emery had a lot of bad luck, because Emery came into one structure and his season continued with a completely different structure, wherein Ivan Gazidis, Sven Mislintat, and Raul Sanlehi, that entire structure broke off. Then Kroenke took over the club completely. Then he had all of a sudden Sven Mislintat, yeah, he left. Then Ivan left, Sven Mislintat left. Then Edu came into picture. Sanlehi became a CEO. There were a lot of changes, and that didn't help him. And second thing is maybe Emery just didn't seem to have be able to. He's a very pragmatic manager, and you can see it even Villarreal. He's won the Europa League with them, but they finished seventh, which shows that Emery is is a good coach on a game by game basis. He's a good tactician, but and he was, I would still say he was the right manager to handle Arsenal at that point of time, because we needed someone with some amount of experience rather than giving, like, if had we gone with Arteta at that point of time, it would have been really risky. It's just that it didn't work out for him and Arsenal. I don't think we were wrong to sack him. We were absolutely correct in my opinion. It's just that it was not working out. You could see that things were not right. And if anybody tells me that maybe things would have worked out, no, because with Emery you could see there was a massive disconnect between the players and himself. The style of play that he had was not suited to the players we had either. So I mean, first of all, congratulations to him for winning Villarreal, not just as a former Arsenal manager, for defeating United as well. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like it's a point of moving on from Emery. I don't think it was the wrong decision for at any cost. But maybe just going forward, we need to be a bit more wiser, though. We should make our decisions a bit better. That would be my only thing.
I feel that if Emery was backed the way Arteta has been backed by the management, things may have been a little better. I mean, even in
May
the
have
first
been,
season, he
yes,
finished 1 point behind Champions
the
League.
top four. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, top four. And I feel that in the hindsight, when we were looking at it, we would have thought that, and at some point of time, even I've thought that Emery wasn't the right guy. But then we got
yeah,
Arteta, and we have backed him to the hilt.
yes.
So I feel that that kind of a backing was lacking when it comes to
Was lacking,
Emery.
yes. True, true. But
So
as I said, it was because, see, Emery at the end of the day was neither an Edu's appointment, and was he fully Sanllehi's appointment? We don't know that. So there were a lot of issues with him behind the scenes, which ended up being a problem for Emery itself. So yeah, there were some things which were out of his control as well. Yeah,
now the other big thing is Tottenham, and Tottenham probably going for Pochettino again, or they
that's
also are looking to sign in Conte, and
yeah,
or Zidane is available. What do you think
yeah.
happens with them?
To be honest, till Conte and Allegri and all this manager reshuffle took place last week, the name being linked to Tottenham was Roberto Martinez. Okay, who is the former Everton and Wigan manager and currently the best. And I was so happy. I'm like, I really, really hope that happens, because it's Tottenham at the end of the day. And all of a sudden, within a matter of 2 3 days, everything changed. They are being linked to the likes of Conte and Pochettino. Now, will they get any of them? That's yet to be seen, because it will be difficult for them to get Pochettino out of
PSG.
PSG. Now, because for PSG also there is another factor. Like, say if Real Madrid act fast and say they get Conte, PSG are not going to let go of Pochettino, because there's no other alpha manager left out there. Like, if Conte is still in a job, without a job, and say Pochettino goes, PSG have someone like Conte who they can get into their squad. That option is available for them. But without that, it's going to be difficult to get him. Now, will Conte be a manager that Spurs would get? I don't think so, because I mean, I really hope not, because Conte, he had problems at Chelsea, because in the second season he was not backed at Chelsea, and the similar issue at Inter Milan. And I don't think Spurs are the kind of a team that would listen to Conte's demands year after year. But my fear is that if Conte goes there, he automatically makes them a very, very highly competitive side, because he has that
So
kind of an effect.
you
Yeah,
bring that topic up, but there is also one more. Mauricio Sarri is also available somewhere. He might also be
yeah.
another option. But the thing now is, will Harry Kane leave Spurs, or will he wait for the new manager to come in and sign another contract with Spurs and go out as a legend?
Oh, actually, that becomes a very, very big point, because uh, who the manager is will definitely play a part in him. But it also becomes quite tricky right now, because he's already kind of gone public, although he has not said it. But it's through his camp itself that the articles have gone out that he's not happy at Spurs. So has he burned the bridges? I don't think so yet, because obviously it's going to be very difficult to negotiate 100 plus million to, it will be way more than 100 plus million. But at the same time, for him, the only club that is genuinely can afford him right now would be City. So for him, if he moves to City, he knows that it's almost guaranteed success for him. So it could be a case wherein that whoever comes in, he won't care, because knows he's going to City with the best manager in the world right now in Guardiola. So if that is the case, like he'll definitely not leave. But if City is not making a bid for him, like he would not, like Chelsea, United, will he go for them where there is still certain uncertainty amongst their whatever, like competitiveness right now? That question will be there. But at City, he knows it's like everything works out for him. So if not for City, then probably you will see him waiting on the next manager.
And I won't be surprised if Real come in for him as well. Real are trying hard for Mbappe, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Real go for him as well. He is good, no questions about that. Harry Kane is a
yeah,
brilliant player. I'm surprised no
definitely.
one has still taken Son from them, but I won't be surprised if even he is on this way out. If
True.
a decent bid comes in, Tottenham needs
Yeah,
money, and Son needs, so a player of his
yeah,
caliber needs trophies. So,
yeah.
last topic of the day. What do you think is going to happen with the Champions League tonight?
That's actually it's going to be very, very an interesting match because you have two managers who are tactically really, really good managers, two squads which have good amount of attacking talents at least. Like obviously City go in as favorites and Chelsea would be on the back foot, I guess, because City seem to be. But I always say cup games actually do not have once the match starts, it's 50-50. But all that being said, City have the edge for me, and I feel that uh, Pep Guardiola will nick this one, and he will get City across the line.
My gut feeling is Chelsea 2-1, Timo Werner and
Oh,
Giroud
okay.
scoring. And that's
Oh,
like,
okay.
I have a feeling that Giroud will sign off on a high out of Chelsea as well.
I actually
So
don't want that, but
again,
yeah,
my
yeah,
logically and statistically, I think Guardiola should have this wrapped up. He has been there many times. He has
yes,
done this,
yes,
and Tuchel may not actually be, that well versed with when it comes to competing with Guardiola on the field. But
yeah,
cup games, you never know what
yes,
happens.
true,
You know,
yeah,
we
that's right.
we have played teams and we have gone down to zip, and when we as fans had given up hope, we suddenly
Yeah,
came back to win 3-2.
true,
So
yeah,
anything happens. It all boils down to what each team wants.
yeah.
Chelsea, if you ask me, doesn't have the technical competence to beat City, but
City,
it's a cup game.
but tactically, yes, yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
tactically, he is a
All it
good
takes is
manager
one or
who,
two headers, and Giroud is good when
exactly,
it comes to
yeah,
those kind of things in crunch situations.
true, yes,
So,
exactly,
all right. Well, on that note,
yes,
thanks, Elroy. I
yeah,
will uh, definitely connect with you again. Maybe after the game tomorrow, we might make a small segment
yes,
talking
yeah.
about the
We
game.
could do that.
But if
Sure,
not,
yes,
definitely sometime midweek.
definitely, yes.
All right. So, guys, if you have come this far, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let us know what we are doing good, what we are not doing good, and we will be glad to take your feedback. And on that note, stay healthy, stay safe wherever you are. Final words, Elroy.
Let's just wait for the Champions League final tonight, and hopefully we'll get some positive Arsenal transfer news till the next transfer catch up of us.
Good.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thanks, Elroy.
yeah.
Talk to you guys
Thanks,
soon.
guys. Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks, Gabe.